So it's kind of dealer's choice. I guess it's however, something under my feet. It's however you want to lay them out. I like laying them out dry just to start with, because I want to see how square this wall is to the edge of the hardwood, and it's actually really nice, surprisingly enough. I'll be able to run it back there without any issues. And these are all uncut, so this is gonna throw out like throwing playing cards on a blackjack table. I'm using these cool little spacers. 1/16 of an inch is what we're using, or is it 1/8? Excuse me, 1/8 of an inch. One side you do the X's, which is in these intersections there, where you can flip them over, and you have the ability to do here. Pretty cool. See if I get it. Yay! Any adjustments I need to make sure everything stays perfectly perpendicular, I can fudge it underneath the toe kick of the cabinets, and you'll never see it. Anyhow, I'm going to pull all this back right now. I'm going to get some mortar mixed up, and we'll get her going. Okay, I think I've got about 2 hours into this floor right now. Today, that is, not total, today. And I'm not a tile guy. I think I'm talking with my hands and you can't even see me. I'm not a tile guy, and I don't consider myself a tile guy. I'm just a dude that's done a couple hundred tile floors. And I've learned along the way that there's some good tricks and there's some bad things to do. And so when I give you guys tips or tricks or show you what I'm doing here, just keep that in mind, that I ain't a tile guy. So yeah, so I'm real happy with how this laid out. My X's and Y's, and they're all really spot on, and I'm very happy. Couple tips is I always remove the spacers as I go. I'll come down a couple of feet, 4, 5, 6 feet, and then I'll start pulling them out of here as I go, because I know these aren't going to move. Once I step on them and I really pack them into the mortar, I know they're not going anywhere. And if things are laying out real nice, that's kind of why I do that dry set first. I just set them all in there to make sure that everything's going to fit pretty decent. I pull the spacers out as I go. That's one less thing I have to do after they dry. And the reason is a couple fold. First of all, if those spacers are contacting mortar, if the mortars come up through the crack, through the gap there, and they can get pretty good and stuck in there, and then you've got to come in with a little screwdriver or a little pick and pop them up, and that's a pain in the neck. And you never really want to get a metal object too close to the edges of these porcelain tiles, or ceramic tiles for that matter, because then you can chip the coating. So pull them out as you go. That's a pretty good tip. Oh, and the other advantage of pulling them out is then you can really verify that your intersection is lined up this way, X and Y, and that it's smooth, right? I guess if you want to call that your Z surface for you machinist guys, right? X, Y, Z. You want to make sure that the tiles are nice and smooth across, and it's hard to determine if all the intersecting points are nice and flat with that piece of plastic in the way. So before I walk away from it and know that it's completely set, I'll pop off the little duty, and I'll make sure that where X, Y is just right, and that the horizontal surface is nice and level. One tip. Second tip, I always come in with a damp cloth, not a wet cloth, but a damp cloth, and I clean as I go. The cleaner your tile is now before the mortar sets, the way easier it is to keep your tile clean after. If you got mortar-y hands, or you got that squeezed onto your tile and you let it dry on there, you're coming in the next day with a scouring pad cleaning that stuff up. So I don't know, where is it? It's right here. I just use an old shirt. It's fine, 100% cotton. I keep that damp, and then I'm wiping tiles down as I go. Before I leave today, I'll come in with a wet sponge and I'll do a final wipe down of all this before I even get in there and grout it. So that's a good tip. Of course, you learn that the hard way. You have to do that 400 or 500 times before you realize that, oh man, this sucks. So this lined up real well. Oh, and I guess a final tip too is, and I got to talk fast because my battery's dying. That's why I didn't film any more of the floor, because I want to be able to show you guys the laundry room, because that's going to be a little different. Laundry room. That's got a different strategy. This, I left about a 1/16 of an inch gap in between the baseboard and the tile, and about a 1/16 of an inch gap between the tile and the cabinets, all the way into the toe kicks. Some of them are a little more, just to keep this visible grout line right to 1/8 of an inch. And you'll never see that anyway. Who cares? The toe kick's hidden. That's where you hide all your sins. Wood expands and contracts with moisture. It expands and contracts with temperatures. And I just think it's a good idea not to have it completely contact there, because it could have a potential, if you run that right up against there, of popping a tile. It'd have to be a pretty significant swelling of the wood to do that, but why take the chance? Oh, there's so much to consider when you're putting tile down. So much to consider. This room is 12 feet by 5 feet, I don't know, that's like 5 or 6 inches, 5.5 feet maybe. It's 4 3/4. So you ask yourself, no matter how you lay this out, you're gonna have a little 4-inch, and then it's actually gonna be less here. We'll just call this 4-inch from the wall to the seam. So you ask yourself, there's gonna be a 4-inch strip of tile, where do we wanna hide that? Where do we want to hide that? And my answer to myself is I want to hide it where the washer and dryer and that big old back-breaking concrete sink's going to sit, right? Because that little strip along here, 90% of it or 85% of it's going to be covered. Big ass sink, washer, dryer, or a stacker, whatever they get. I don't care. Yeah. So the entryways are also have to be considered to center tile. I like my tile this way, where it slices the doorway into thirds, and this one just perfectly lays out that way. It just happens to be just right. And I'm not so concerned about having the 4-inch, 4+ inch strip here. There's going to be a transitional threshold here from wood to tile. So there'll be a small strip on just the door, but when you're walking in the kitchen looking into the laundry room, you've got more of this is more visually appealing to me, I think. And then when you come around here, sorry, I just ate lunch. I just choked down a bunch of lunch and I got the burpees. I would rather have complete tiles to see through the majority of the feel of this room. Going to be complete tiles. Oh, so my plan, now that I know how this is going to lay out, my plan is to keep these 3 like this. I'm going to tile to the wall, and I'm going to come out 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 4 tiles out from the wall, and I'm going to go 4 feet, 4 feet, 4 feet out from the wall all the way there, and then I'm going to sweep this corner, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to line it up to here, and hopefully it lines up. Yeah. So here we are a short time later. I haven't had to do any cuts, so this just flew right along. You can walk on this if you really want to. Once I step on it and I set it in place, me personally, I like leaving them alone, because if you keep stepping on them, a couple things can happen. First of all, you can compress the tile down into the mortar even farther, and once you're assured that this is level, I just like leaving it alone, because you start stepping on it and this one steps and that one compresses down, and before you know it, none of your intersections are level, and it becomes a sight thing there, and it just looks dumb. And secondly, once this mortar really kind of starts to set, once it's been down for a little bit and it starts to set, you really don't want to disturb it. Just let it do its drying thing, because if it's kind of most of the way dry and you're stepping on it and you're shifting it around, you can cause it to kind of crumble and lose its adhesion and bond to either the tile or the floor. So, I mean, if you absolutely had to, you could walk on this, but I suggest just leaving it be. So you can see we have an 1 1/8 piece here to match up to the threshold. That's the notch for the door. I did get those pieces fit. And as I always say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I could have come in and undercut that molding, tuck the tile underneath, but then again, I didn't undercut any of this baseboard, so why start now? So that's one way you could have done it as opposed to doing this, but let's keep it real. It's a laundry room in a rental, so it's not a $1 million custom house. It's about 2:30 and I got to go. I've got about 5.5 hours in floors today to lay these 2 floors out. Not too bad. I moved along at a pretty good pace. I wasn't rushing, but I was moving with a purpose. A real quick tip. Not a quick trip, a quick tip. I stuck this down with mortar. You guys saw I was wearing gloves. I was wearing rubber gloves because the cement that's in concrete is brutal on the hands. The lime and the other stuff that's in there, actually in there, is just brutal. So any base product like that, like mortar, fence post concrete, stucco, regular high strength concrete, the cement that's in there and the stuff that's in there just wrecks your hands. It dries them out, it cracks them, it makes them angry, and it burns if you have it on there too long. And I've learned this all the hard way. Learned this all the hard way by doing cement work without decent gloves. And first and foremost about cement, guys, and ladies too. I think I have 2 or 3 ladies that actually watch this channel. If you have cement on your hands and you want to use the bathroom, oh Lord, wash your hands. Okay, soap and water, wash your hands. Ask me how I know. How do you know? How do I know? 20 some years ago when I bought my very first house, it had cedar shingles on the outside. And I wanted a stucco house because it was nestled among the trees, and I was worried about fire retardation. No, that's not right. I was worried about fireproofing it a little better, and the shingles were just wrecked. Anyway, I stripped the outside of the house, and I did stucco, and I had stucco on my hands, and I had to go pee. And I had stucco on my hands, wasn't wearing gloves like an idiot. I didn't wash my hands. I touched my junk, right? I touched my junk to pee, and I didn't pay any attention until about 30 to 45 minutes later, when it felt like someone had dropped a book of lit matches down the front of my pants. And the blistering and the little dancing I did around, because my weenage was just on fire. So, mortar, stucco, fence post concrete, high strength concrete, any cement based product, wash your hands. I cannot stress that enough. Wear gloves so you don't beat your hands up. And definitely wash your hands before you touch any tender undercarriage parts. You will thank me in the long run. Okay, I gotta run. I gotta go. See you.